Meaningful progress. Um, we cannot make progress without it being meaningful. We're talking about the African woman and her rising, and like the local government space that I spoke about. How can we get the women out there? How can we get our male counterparts to support us? And it should not just be a woman, but women who are ready to learn, women who have learned in the space where we find ourselves, not just the political space, but in whatever capacity we find ourselves, in the medical field, in the law field, in the engineering field. What have we been able to achieve there, and how are we bringing others along to ensure that the women will not hide behind the scene, though they are in that space. They don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard, but this is the time for us to ensure that we pull these women out so that society will know that women have made some impact and women are continuing to make impact, not leaving our male counterparts behind. I would say that it all boils down to society. Sometimes our makeup, that is how we are brought up, we think that the men have to be out there, the men have to be seen. But it has gotten to a point where women, we contribute also to the discussion on the table. And so we shouldn't feel shy. And sometimes we look, financial barriers are also one other area that we have to look at. How am I going to get the financial support to move on there in my education, in my career as a politician? How am I going to be sponsored? And so we need to have a conversation about sponsorship, about the finances of whatever space we find ourselves. And so it should not just be a conversation. We have to move out there, have a conversation with those in the space, those in authority, and move out there even to the local communities. There are women in the local communities who are vocal, who can do it, but do not have the opportunity even to go to school. And so we need to sponsor them. We need to have scholarship packages. We need to identify them as members of parliament. Wherever you find yourself, the CEO of whatever organization, you come from a community. Can you go back to that community and identify a little girl there, identify a student there, identify a university graduate there who is a woman that you can support to bring up into the space, so that at least, as we are talking about 2030, 2035, we're looking at 50-50. I believe we can do that together, not by ourselves as women, but we are calling on our male counterparts to be part of the conversation. Like today, we had a few of them, and we know that His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, is an advocate when we come to ECOWAS, a gender advocate. And he's looking at how best to bridge the gap between the women and the men. And so, like I said, my grandmother taught me that you don't lord it over the men, otherwise they will not give you the space. We need to work in collaboration with them. We need to work hand in hand with them. We need to let them understand that we are not taking their space, but we want to be part of the space and be part of the conversation.